Hello students, welcome to Legacy Academy. In this particular video, we are going to discuss about a recent decision made by US administration where it has labeled the Baloch group, that is the Baloch Liberation Army operating in the Balochistan region of Pakistan, as a terror organization. So what is the significance of this particular step taken by the US State Department, and what is the main objective of Baloch Liberation Organization? Why is it fighting against the state of Pakistan? Let us try to understand all this in great detail. Now, first of all, to give the context of this particular topic, recently in a statement released by the US Department of State by the Secretary of State Marco Rubio, he has clarified that the US government from now has decided to designate the Pakistani separatist organization called as Balochistan Liberation Army and its suicide wing, which is referred as Mazid Brigade, as a FTO, where FTO stands for Foreign Terrorist Organization as such. Now, the BLA is among the most prominent flag bearers of the Balochistan's decade-long separatist movement. Now, I talk about Balochistan, that is the westernmost province of Pakistan, covering a significant area of Pakistan, but population density of this region is very low. Now, since 1947, after the independence of India and Pakistan, we have seen many Baloch fighters have taken up arms and they have protested against the oppression by the Pakistani state, and their demand is clear that they want to have a separate country of their own. They do not want to remain part of the Pakistan as such, where they are met what you can call as very differential treatment as compared to the other regions of Pakistan as such. So, in this particular region of Balochistan, there are many separate groups, but most influential, most successful separatist group that operates here is the BLA, which has been declared as a FTO here. Now, also we have to understand that Pakistan also has often accused that it is India which has fomented the separatism in Balochistan, and it is India which is funding the Balochistan liberation groups and all that. The charge that obviously India has clearly defined that, clearly has denied that it has not played and will not play any role as far as the internal matters of Pakistan is concerned. Now, previous instances, if you try to understand previous status of this particular organization, US already has declared BLA as a state declared this organization SDGT since year 2019. Now, after SDGT, it has been further upgraded to FTO, where FTO stands for Foreign Terrorist Organization, and this kind of designation brings a large number of measures, especially we talk about the sanctions and all related to the people of BLA and anyone who supports BLA as such. And this most important development here that has come, this particular development especially from the perspective of Pakistan has come when Pakistani's Army Chief General Asim Munir is on the visit to United States of America, and also they are trying to bring US and Pakistan to a negotiating table where some sort of trade deal can be finalized here. Now, also we have to understand that why US is suddenly taking an interest in the region of Balochistan, because recently, if you remember, Trump has posted that US has decided to help Pakistan in extracting oil reserves that is present in the region of Balochistan. So, it is quite possible US is eyeing its own economic interest by tapping into the oil resources, oil reserves of Balochistan region, and that is why, to appease Pakistan, to ensure that Pakistan government did not derail its plan, they might have taken this decision of designating BLA as a FTO, that is a Foreign Terrorist Organization. Now, if you try to understand that why Balochistani people are fighting against the oppression of the state of Pakistan. So, first of all, if you take a look at the map here, we can see that this region, this red region that you see here is the region of Balochistan that makes up roughly, we can say, 50% of the entire area of Pakistan. But interestingly, in Balochistan, you will find only 3.6% of total people, so total population of Pakistan as such. If you look, Balochistan also shares a huge border with Afghanistan in the north and Iran in the west, as we can see. And Balochi people, most of Balochi people are living in Pakistan, but a significant percentage of Balochi people also live on the other side of border, that is in Iran as such. So, that is how we have to understand this entire province. Now, since 1947, Balochistan has put up a fight against the state of Pakistan, because earlier, if you go back before 1947, Balochistan was made up of multiple chiefdoms, and each of these chiefdoms was headed by a particular chief. But out of all the chiefdoms that made up Balochistan, Ahmad Yar Khan, who was the chief of Kalat region of Balochistan, was the most powerful, and he put up a fight against the Pakistan as he wanted to ensure that Balochistan is going to secede from Pakistan as a separate state. However, this did not come into fruition. He was forced to accede to Pakistan in the year 1948 because Pakistani government, Pakistani military forces has invaded Kalat as such. Now, after this forceful accession of Balochistan to Pakistan, we have seen an insurgency which has taken place in multiple waves, and currently we are witnessing the 4th and 5th wave of insurgency of Balochi people against the Pakistani operation, against the unjust behavior of Pakistani government toward Baloch as such. Now, Balochistan also has been eyed up by both China as well as US because it is a region with rich mineral reserve. For example, apart from the oil reserves that we have discussed, Balochistan also has huge reserves of natural gas. It has huge reserve of coal, marble, iron ore. Talk about sulfur, chromite and limestone, these valuable minerals. And recently also we have seen that China has backed development of a deep water port that you might have heard about called as Gwadar port, to link this port with the Chinese-Pakistan economic corridor that will connect this port to the Chinese region of Xinjiang in the north as such. Now, it is the development of deep water port in Gwadar that also has created a sentiment or anti-Chinese sentiment among the people of Balochistan, because they are complaining that whenever this port was developed, the economic benefits from this has not trickled down to the inhabitants of Balochistan, to the Balochi people. Rather, it is the other regions of Pakistan. People from other regions of Pakistan, even Chinese national, they have hugely benefited from such port, and because of this, they recent times, if we try to understand the Balochistan Liberation Army and the Suicide Brigade that we have discussed, they also have target Chinese national, Chinese companies and Chinese interest in the Balochistan as such. Now, overall, if we try to understand, Balochi considered themselves as oppressed and impoverished people, not because they did not have enough resources, but because the resources are largely taken away by the Pakistan, and the development is something that we see in the other regions of Pakistan, but Balochi people has largely been neglected in last 60-70 years or so. So, this is the kind of oppression that they are continuously fighting against. Despite being rich in natural resources, as we discussed, the province is the poorest province of the country. That is a kind of contradiction you can see here, and resources have not been able to generate any kind of substantial revenue, any kind of substantial employment for the people of Balochistan. Rather, the entire benefit of these resources and these revenues has been cornered by the federal government of Pakistan, and the local population has been left on their own, and they are facing extreme poverty, and that is what they are fighting against. Now, apart from Balochistan Liberation Army, as we have discussed, that US also has designated Majid Brigade as a FTO. So, Majid Brigade in simplest term can be defined as the suicide wing of Balochistan Liberation Army that has carried out many suicide attacks against prominent figures of Pakistan as well as Chinese nationals, and it is named after Majid Lango brothers, who used to lead the Balochistan liberation movement as such. So, this group came into picture first of all in the year 2011 when they launched their first attack, and in the recent times we have seen they have carried out multiple attacks against the Chinese companies, the businessmen and the Chinese personnels operating in the Balochistan area, largely to ensure the development of Chinese-Pakistan economic corridor. And also in the recent time they have carried out high profile urban strikes in the major cities of Pakistan as well. So, again, if we try to understand that what is the significance of US declaring Balochistan Liberation Army as a foreign terrorist organization. So, obviously, first of all, this particular attack is assigned by US under the section 219 of Immigration and Nationality Act, and it is the Department of State of US who is going to enforce this particular imposition as such. Now, once any organization is declared as FTO, any kind of support that this organization might be receiving from any person, from any country, they will be considered as a criminal under the US domestic law as such. Not only that, if any of the organization, their supporters, their personal assets is in the US banks, financial institutions and all that, that can be frozen. Plus, there will be imposition of travel restrictions against any personnel associated with this particular organization. And overall, because US, as you know, is the biggest this economy, largest economy in the world, it is considered as today even today as a superpower in the world. So, any kind of designation coming from US government, it also help in creating international isolation against that particular group, and that is what Pakistan is expected to take benefit of. Pakistan is trying to ensure that US support of BLA as FTO, US support of Pakistan to categorize and designate BLA as FTO will help Pakistan in internationally isolating this particular organization. Now here, one thing you also have to keep in mind that before US, if you look at UK, United Kingdom already has declared Balochistan Liberation Army as a foreign terrorist organization as such. Now, obviously, such kind of step taken by US government has brought a happiness among the Pakistani government, and they have reacted by saying that such move by US administration is an example of victory for the diplomacy of Pakistan, and also they are trying to again repeat and ramp up their agenda that it is India which has supported BLA, and later on they are saying that also now India can also be punished and some kind of sanctions in the future can be imposed as India has supported BLA as such. Now also they are using the same narrative that they try to deflect again. For example, they are saying that it is the proxy of India, that is the Balochistan Liberation Army operating in Pakistan, and overall they say that now because BLA has been declared as a foreign terrorist organization, Pakistan will be able to firmly resist and take action against terrorism. They will strengthen the counter-terrorism stance of Pakistan, and also it is being portrayed as a domestic political gain by the government of Pakistan as an appeasement measure for the people as such. Obviously, Balochi leader, if you try to understand here, currently the entire Balochistan Liberation Army is headed by Mir Yar Baloch. He is the one of the major influencers, influential figure as far as the Balochistan liberation is concerned. So he has called this kind of designation as unjust, because he has stated that Balochistan or the people of Balochistan are not terrorists. Balochi people are on the other hand victim of operation carried out continuously for many decades by the state of Pakistan as such, and it is the Pakistan which should be sanctioned as it has clearly supported Islamic State of Khorasan as well as it has sheltered Osama bin Laden that everyone know about. So this has been the reaction as far as the Baloch organization is concerned. Now obviously, if you try to understand that in the context of Indo-US relationship, this step by US to designate BLA as FTO has come after the last month when TRF, the Resistance Front, has also been declared as FTO by the US State Department. The Resistance Front, as we know, was a proxy of Lashkar-e-Taiba, and it has claimed the responsibility of carrying out a attack against the civilians civilians in the Pahalgam region of Jammu and Kashmir. So since then, Ministry of External Affairs of India has clearly stated that TRF does not have any independent existence. It is simply a proxy of Lashkar-e-Taiba, and as we know that Lashkar-e-Taiba is a terrorist organization which has been firmly supported by Pakistan, backed by Pakistan, and it has involved not only in the Pahalgam massacre but in numerous other terror related activities in the past in India as well. So such a decision by the government of US to declare TRF as FTO is an important step that reflects the deep cooperation between India and US on the counter-terrorism as such. So this is how we have to understand both that in last month it was US which declared TRF as FTO, and this month it has declared BLA as FTO. So largely US is not concerned about whether they are involved in terrorist activities or not, or what kind of activities they have been involved in. It seems that US is largely interested in its own interest, and in the case of Balochistan, it has a large economic interest as shown above, as shown before by Trump's statement, where they are eyeing the oil reserves, natural gas reserves and other mineral reserves maybe in the Balochistan region as such. So that is all about this particular video. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with all aspirants, subscribe to the channel for more such content. Thank you very much.